This little video right here might, you know, it might ruffle some, you know, some feathers, some emotional feathers. I don't know. But I want to talk about it because it needs to be discussed. It needs to be broached, especially in terms of surviving the madness. And in this context, I'm talking about people of color, because I noticed some years ago, and it, it was kind of offhand that I noticed that I wasn't looking for it or anything. It's kind of something that just came to my attention. I just noticed it, and what I noticed was the whole mixing thing. Let's go back to the 40s and 50s. I wasn't born then, but I have learned enough about the history to know that the people of color were essentially segregated. Whites did not mix with melanites. Fast forward to now, and when you turn on your television programming, you know what a program is? I won't go into it, but just think about it. Do you know what a program is? And I'm speaking in very technical terms. What programming is. So you watch your television programming, and that's what it's designed for. Should do some research on Pavlov. I'm going to throw that one out there. Learn the basics, of human psychology. But whenever you turn on your TV now, on your television programming, I don't watch TV anymore. But it's like every other show. They put in front of you a black person who is hooking up with a white person. And they don't necessarily show them married. And then, in some shows, maybe they do. But I found that odd, considering not too long ago, it has not been very long, melanites, people of color, were segregated. And whites did not mix with them. Did not mix with us. Why is it today that, and I should say that's all you see on the television shows, on the programming. I remember years ago I used to pride myself on the fact that no one has been able to hypnotize me. Try as they might, no one has been able to pull it off. And of course, some years later, it dawned on me that I had fallen victim to some of the most sadistic hypnotists on the planet. The rulers of this madness. But why is it, do you think, that certain ones are trying to get people of color to mix with whites? Have you guys asked yourself that? I remember reading in the news, it was during the hurricane. I think it was Hurricane Sandy, I think. This black female, what she was doing outside, I have no idea, but this black female is in this white neighborhood, and she has a child with her. Hurricane shows up. Hurricane arrives, and she's knocking on the doors trying to get assistance from the whites in her neighborhood. They wouldn't help her. And of course, at the time when I heard the story, I didn't know that the female in question was a black female. I also didn't know that her child she had with her was mixed, because the black female fell prey to the programming and married a white man. However, of course, when she needed assistance, those whites who she fell prey to did not assist her. They found her mixed child dead later. But in terms of surviving the madness, what's the agenda here? What's the agenda? Why do they seem so desperate to mix certain ones? I remember coming across, I don't know if you if any of you listening to this are readers of the so-called Bible, but I am an avid reader of it in those regards. However, I do live by the instructions written in that book. But back to this whole thing. There's someone in the scriptures, you know him as Daniel, the prophet Daniel. He's talking about those who will mix themselves with the seed of man. I remember when I was trapped, ensnared in the cult and mental programming that is the Jehovah's Witness religion. I used to come across that scripture a lot because they actually have a little booklet, I think, where they attempt to explain away the book of Daniel. They fail, and I never understood. I could never figure out what in the world does this mean. Of course, now that I know that the religion itself, the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses, is a gatekeeping religion. Now I understand why I never understood it. But we're seeing it in action now. We see all this mixing going on. That's the only thing they put in front of you nowadays. But why they're so desperate? I mean, if you compare, right now everybody's talking about the Europeans who follow the religion of Judaism, and that they are pretty much the ones with the influence now in the government, and especially in the mass media. They own that. Conversely, everyone's talking about the Christians, the so-called conservatives, who have essentially lost control of this country that they set up. Of course, on the bloody backs of the indigenous. So everybody's making comparisons about those two facts. Have you noticed this? You have your white conservatives, they're Christians, that's their religion. They didn't mix with us Melanites. They kept it segregated. Now here, that group of whites, they fall to their brothers, another group of whites who follow a whole different religion, Judaism. But the group of whites or Europeans who follow Judaism are desperate to get you mixed up as much as they can. Have you asked why? I'm just putting it out there because it needs to be addressed. There is a reason why people of color are kept separate from non-colored. And you guys need to put on your thinking caps. Remember that old saying from way back when? Put on your thinking caps, start asking questions, find out why they're doing that to you, so you don't fall victim to it. You know that mixing is a form of genocide. And I'm being frank here, because if you take one group of people who all have similar traits and characteristics, they all descend from one genetic tree, and you start mixing them with others who are not of their tree, who look vastly different, you start mixing blacks with whites, eventually that group of people will disappear. If you don't believe me, I want you to take a look at some old photographs of the indigenous who lived here in the Americas before the whites arrived here, how they looked. They were Melanites. They were people of color. When the whites arrived here, slaughtered most of them mixed with the others, now they present to you a whited out whatever and call that a Native American. But they're not. They're white. They're Europeans. Have you ever asked yourself why they do that? This is about surviving the madness. So, of course, it's about European imperialism. It's not just the British. It's white imperialism. I had a problem with it. Yeah, I just made another video too. My problem with Christianity. I have a huge problem with Christianity. But I just want to talk about the whole mixing agenda. Put it out there. You guys need to be paying attention. I remember some years ago, not too long ago, but it was on the cable network. I can't remember. I think it was I cannot remember which cable network it was, but the movie featured Halle Berry, and it's called The Wedding. They showed that freaking movie as if that was the only movie that network had. They just kept showing it over and over and over and over. And then another movie came out called Something New. This black female hooks up with this white dude. Now the TV shows from, some of the ads that I'm seeing on YouTube, and other places online where I go, a lot of the TV shows that are coming out now feature blacks hooking up with whites. Of course, like I said, look at the contrast. Contrast the element that has taken control of this country, the whole world, with the ones who had control of it before. They're both white. However, one group remains separate from us. The other one is desperate to mix with us. You should ask why. Just pay attention. Look around. Ask questions.
People to move in the neighborhoods, but clean their own neighborhoods. And another thing, when you say integration, it comes under intermarriage too, right? All
right.
Being together.
Right, sure.
And I'm sure no intelligent white person watching this show, or no intelligent white man in his or her right white mind, want black boys and black girls marrying their white sons and daughters, and in return introducing their grandchildren as half-brown, kinky-haired black people.
I wouldn't object to that.
Well, you wouldn't, but a lot of them would.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people. No, this is the point.
What I'm trying to say is this. You don't have it. You say you don't, but you don't have it. You really ain't gonna have it. You're on the show, and you got to say that.
That's not true.
Why would you want to do that?
Because I don't think I'm any different from you see.
Yeah, we much different.
I mean, I think society's made us different.
We're different. We're all together.
But society's made us different.
No, not society. God made us different.
No, we're just human beings. He made all of us.
We all listen. Bluebirds fly with bluebirds. Red birds want to be with red birds. Listen. Tell me when I'm wrong. Pigeons want to be with pigeons.
But
Tell me when I'm wrong. We should have. More, they don't have intelligence, but yet they stay together. We should have more intelligence than them, right? Buzzards are with buzzards. Yeah. Buzzards are with buzzards. Bluebirds are with bluebirds. They all are birds, but they got different cultures. The eagles like to hang out in the mountains. The buzzards like to fly around the desert. I'd rather go and be my own. I have a beautiful daughter, beautiful wife. They look like me. We're all happy, and I don't have no trouble. I have no trouble. I ain't that much in love with no woman to go through all that hell. Ain't no one woman that good. You understand?
I understand, yeah. I do understand. I understand. I think it's sad that
it ain't sad because I want my child to look like me. Every intelligent person wants his child to look like him. I'm sad because I want to blot out my race and lose my beautiful identity. Chinese love Chinese. They love the little slanted-eyed, pretty brown-skinned babies. Pakistanis love their culture. Jewish people love their culture. A lot of Catholics don't want to marry a number of Catholics. They want the religion to stay the same. Who want to spot up yourself and kill your race? You're a hater of your people if you don't want to stay who you are. You shame what God made you. God didn't make no mistake when he made us all like we were.
I think that's a philosophy of despair.
Despair?
I really do.
It ain't no despair.
Number
one, can't no woman. Let me tell you something. Well, I want to tell you. Listen, no woman on this whole earth, not even a black woman in Muslim countries, can please me and cook for me and socialize and talk to me like my American black woman. No woman, and last is a white woman, can really identify with me and my feelings and the way I act and the way I talk. And you can't take no Chinese man and give him no Puerto Rican woman and holler about we're in love and you emotionally in love and physically, but really they're not happy because she's gonna hear some Puerto Rican music, he's gonna hear some Chinese music, and they're gonna be clashing all the time. It's just nature. You can do what you want, but it's nature to want to be with your own. I want to be with my own. I love my